Good evening and welcome to douglAR Politics, and happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. You know, all your sacrifices and all that you do for your children. Sometimes you don't get the thank yous. You don't really need that because that's what mothers do. So on this one day for the year, even though every day we should appreciate our mothers and all that you do for the world, we take a special time out to say to you mothers, thank you very much. Thank you for the day in, day out sacrifices, for the little things that you do every single moment of every single day. As we say that, had to be a good mother to bring out a champion like Nikolai Blackman, who won the Maracas 5,000 meter. He won the boys version, and Zoe Anthony won the girls version up there at Maracas in the subway open water swim. Zachary Anthony was second in 1 hour and 10 minutes 46, and Liam Carrington was third in 1:13:43. Zoe Anthony won the girls in 1:19:31, and Amy LeBron came 1 minute behind Zoe in 1 minute 20.36. And Sydney Lukfong of Petrotrin Barracudas came third. So well done. We see for the first time in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, we are going to have a swimmer that can be called a distance swimmer of note. A young man, his name is Graham Chatur, son of Camille Richards Chatur and Dominic Chatur, two former national swimmers. But he did some incredible long distance in the pool times. You know, we are carnival culture and we sprinters, we have fast, we move fast and we go up in the world ranks. But never before have we seen a distance swimmer in the pool really put down a time that could be considered world class. And Graham Chatur did a 1500 freestyle in the Fran Crippen swim meet. And he went the 800 in 8:16, and he went the 1500 meters in 16:07:67, 16 minutes 7.67. As soon as he dips under 16 minutes, and he definitely will, then he will walk into the realm of world-class, high-caliber distance swimmers. The first ever, bar none. So congratulations to Graham Chatur. I cannot wait to see you hit those splits, 50 by 50, to go under 16 minutes. That's where the air is rare. Anti-doping help for Trinidad and Tobago, a very interesting article. And you could put up the Minister's Sport Sham for Kujo, because she loves to just take picture. You know, I realize if I was Minister of Sport, I said I take picture Because every time this man give a little bit of help, which is not really help, but it's what the sporting fraternity deserves. It's what the children have earned. She just dress up nice with she fancy bag and all kind of Yves Saint Laurent and all kind of belt to show off. She have nice clothes now to hand out check. If I had done that when I minister, it's whole day, whole night. We'd have to spend time taking pictures because it was assistance in a meaningful manner. Over $130 million more for children, for sport, for development. But I see this big back page. And newspapers, y'all have no shame. And with all due respect to my people of Trinidad and Tobago, we allow these newspapers and the bacchanal of politics, and don't get me wrong, I like everything in politics. The bacchanal, the pecan, but the essence of politics is real. It's a very serious thing. Because politics, when you make a decision to dip your finger, that's going to impact your life every day, every moment of every day for the next 5 years. Understand that? So in all the we win, you win, who win, they have some serious, and we have to get down to the nitty-gritty. But these newspapers never bother to remind you of the factual matrix. They just try to play games to obfuscate, to leave people like this in charge, because great is the PNM. And they collapsing, the whole country collapsing, not near walking, definitely not sport, but great is the PNM. Only the PNM could say that. But on the back page of the Express, Tuesday, May 9th, anti-doping help for Trinidad and Tobago. Regional body to assist with testing at the youth games. Minister of Sport and Community Development, Shampa Kujo, and the Minister in the Ministry of Legal Affairs, Senator Renuka Sagram Singh Suklal, attended the launch. Representatives were hired, and they need all the help they can get to comply with the strict World Anti-Doping Code requirements. While these countries' governments also have responsibilities and obligations through the UNESCO International Convention Against Doping in Sport to take appropriate and necessary measures to promote the fight against doping in sports. Okay, anti-doping in sports. Wow, 2023. That's why the Caribbean RADO is happy to be involved with the Trinbago 23 CYG, which is the games coming up, the Junior Commonwealth Games. We will collaborate with TTCGA to support the anti-doping program. So the Trinidad and Tobago Organizing Committee, they need help from outside to do doping in Trinidad and Tobago. It demonstrates their integrity and transparency in the fight against doping. And we are happy to provide this support to them, says the international people. The discussions also centered on the need for anti-doping legislative reform ahead of the 2025 World Conference on Anti-Doping in Bhutan. Why did I read all that for you? In 2013, I, Anil Roberts, under Kamala Persad-Bissessar, took anti-doping legislation to the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago, got it unanimously passed downstairs and upstairs in the Senate. And there it sits, anti-doping legislation, a slew of legislation, with creating the Trinidad and Tobago Anti-Doping Organization, TADO, to be appointed by the president, and how they operate the education, their testing, the funding, their structure, their security of tenure. All of that is there since 2013. We are 10 years after. This lady said, we in charge, and we'll be in your face like a Jambi from Lake Oto. And the legislation has not been proclaimed. We are hosting a Commonwealth Youth Games, have not prepared our athletes for the 7 sports that we're going to take part in, have not provided extra funding to the coaches, the athletes, and the training, the facilities for them to train and prepare. We have not sent them on extra competitions or gotten extra expertise to ensure that when Trinidad and Tobago hosts these games, that we'll be hearing our national anthem. She is hoping that some good mother and father and some good athlete who by themselves work hard and sacrifice could come to create greatness here on our shores, so all of us could be proud to hear our national anthem on pan. They hit and hoped but they have no hope in dope. Because the legislation was passed 10 years ago. But the Express, you print this nonsense as if having a conference and asking for help from the Caribbean RADO and so on. Y'all didn't even know what I just spoke to you about. Because y'all are so dishonest. You are so PNM that facts don't worry y'all. Y'all did not even say, but Minister Shamfa Kujo, what about the legislation that was unanimously passed in 2013? What? There were some things to be done before it could be proclaimed. But in 2015, when you came in, it was ready nearly to be proclaimed. And the Tado and Trinidad and Tobago should have been well on the way to having their own organization, not requiring any assistance from anyone. All you didn't ask you that. All you want to know where she gets your handbag from. And that's the games that we play in Trinidad and Tobago. As we talk that, you could move this PNM and put another PNM. Ashton Ford, former mayor of the PNM, of Arima, former general secretary and many positions in the PNM, a lifelong member of the PNM. For over 60 years, this man is a member of the PNM. He was there when Dr. Williams was there. Let me read to you, my ladies and gentlemen, as you realize that politics is not a game. Let me read a letter written by Ashton Ford, not Anil Roberts, not Kamla Prasad Bisesa, not David Naked, not Jolene John, not Michelle Benjamin. None of them. From PNM, Ashton Ford. Letter to the editor. Plea for Arima sporting teams. Now, Arima is Penelope Beckles. Penelope Beckles is the member of parliament, the PNM member of parliament for Arima. Dabadi Amira is some Morris Julian lady. PNM all around. The Minister of Sport, Kujo, is PNM. Okay? Let me read this for you all now. And it's PNM for 8 years, eh? Plea for Arima sporting teams. This brings me back to Fulham and the agents and the current unfortunate situation as they compete in the senior division of the East Zone of the TTCB competition. Today it is indeed pathetic to see the young cricketers play without a pavilion, no changing or toilet facilities, and nowhere to store their equipment. The same applies to the agents team at the rehab center. There are absolutely no facilities, and what is worse is the fact that a kind resident who allowed them to store their equipment has asked the team to find another place because they have to attend to personal family business. They met with the sport company, but they never heard back from them, and the grounds are dilapidated. It is a downright shame, says Ashton, PNM Ford. Excuse me, forgive me, because I'm reading this, and I can't believe what I'm reading, It is a downright shame and a disgrace for two outstanding clubs to be treated in such a manner after making such a tremendous contribution in sports and keeping the young people involved in the sporting arena in the face of the onslaught of crime that prevails in the country today. Ashton Ford, former mayor and MP for Arima. Well, so you have no shame. You are shameless. You really write that when you are a PNM, fighting for PNM, telling PNM people to vote on race because you say vote on race, and your government has been in charge for 8 years, and all of this shame falls squarely on you and your PNM. Why, sir, did you not take the millions of dollars you're getting from your PNM, not put in a defense to your lawsuit against the PNM government? Well, it was the government, but then it changed to PNM, and then the Attorney General, Faris Al-Rawi and Limo, did not put in a defense for your lawsuit against the very government, and you get some millions of dollars. Why you don't take that millions of dollars and go and fix the people them ground? Why you don't call your PNM MP, Penelope Beckles, who could stick fight? She could clean fish. She could dance the ballet. She could chip the pan. She could whine and jam down in Point 14. That's Penelope on the move. But she cannot serve her burgesses. She cannot serve Arima. And you come here to write a letter in the newspapers, you all PNM, you are shameless, weak, and you are part of the problem in this country. Because if you ask it tomorrow, you will say, the refrain, great is the PNM. Great is the PNM. All people, black, Indian, Chinese, everybody suffer. But great is the PNM. You have no shame at moving. Lara's heartbreak. Brian Charles Lara. Crime hit him hard in Santa Cruz early on in the year. His nephew, then his lifelong friend, was gunned down and murdered. And that PNM action for talking about crime all over the country, like if it had nothing to do with them. Government is not, them have no responsibility for nothing. But after Brian Lara talked, I read here a column by my former coach and a brilliant man, Mr. Colin Murray. He was my football coach at Fatima College. I have total 100% respect for this gentleman. He doesn't get involved in politics too much. Yeah, I might say that he family member Derek Murray is our old PNM and things. That had nothing to do with Colin Murray. This man is a brilliant, intelligent, classy individual. A former captain of Trinidad and Tobago in cricket, and he also played football. Coach Fatima, of which I was on the team with Scott Rodriguez, Captain Sean Ramdu, and we tied with Dwight York, and then we lost the national title on goal difference because of overconfidence against St. Mary's with Kona Hislop and Barry Roach and them boys. But Colin Murray, on reading and hearing and feeling the pain of Brian Lara, because Brian Lara was in Fatima while Colin Murray was also a football coach there. So he's very close for over 40 years with Brian Lara. Colin Murray writes this: prayers alone won't cut it for a nation hurting from crime. I know there are quite a few youth camps in some areas. I certainly would like to see more of these throughout TNT. I don't know how these camps are funded, but if the different neighborhoods can give a monthly donation and give these youth stipend while teaching them a craft, this will certainly help. From electrical works to plumbing, tiling, etc. may go a long way in saving at least 1 or 2 youths from entering a life of crime. Get successful individuals to come and talk to them and show them that they came from a low-income home. They too can make it. Sure, everyone can't have a university degree, but there are ways and means to have a successful life. In addition to Lara, I am hopeful that local heroes like Russell Latapy, Kyron Pollard, Dwayne Bravo, Dwight York, and Jareem Richards, to name a few, when they are back home, they can go to town meetings and talk to the youths and parents around the country and tell them how life was hard, but they never gave up on pursuing the dream. My dear brother Colin, unfortunately, you have not been paying attention to politics. Maybe because of all the noise, and you don't like the noise and the peacock and the banter. But underneath all of that is some substance. And all that you have spoken about there existed in 2010 to 2015 in a meaningful manner, where Kamla Persad-Bissessar and your former student, Anil Roberts, as Minister of Sport, and across the board in all ministries, put exactly what you have said there, implemented that. First and foremost, Darren Ganga, Dwight York, Brian Lara, Hazel Crawford and others, they were ambassadors, paid a stipend and so on, and were going, motivating, talking to children, talking to schools. Elite funding program, par for the course was all the 53 athletes on elite funded programs back under Anil and Kamla. Part and parcel of that was that they have to visit schools when they were home in between their training and so on to give motivational talks. But when you talk about getting a stipend and the education and so on, Kamla Persad-Bissessar and the Ministry of Science and Tertiary Education with David Lee and Fazal Karim, they built over 12 MIC centers, 10 NESC centers, and they increased funding to UTT, COSTAT across the board. Keith Christopher Rowley came into power in September 2015 and closed down 8 MIC centers, welding and electrical and so on, and 4 NESC centers. He cut funding to UTT by something like 80 million per year for the last 8 years. He cut GATE, which Fazal Karim and Kamla Prasad took up, including Tech Voc, up to 59,000 students, 726 million. Keith Christopher Rowley cut that funding for the youth of the country for the last 8 years by over $2.2 billion. Then there was something called live sport. Now Keith Rowley and the PNM would maybe, as you hear live sport, you say corruption, thief, money waste. But let me tell you, live sport was a program designed for the worst of the worst. Young fellas in gangs actively shooting, killing, robbing, get them off the street, encourage them to get into a teamwork setting, have guidance counselors, social workers. The plan was to give them some literacy and numeracy, give them tasks, keep them fit, give them opportunities, identify their talent, put them into MIC centers for welding, as 80 of them went into NESC centers, over 75 went in and graduated, put them into deep sea diving, that commercial diving, get them involved in sport, coaching and so on, education. And you said that some people should go and talk to them. Well, no, live sport wasn't about just one speech a month, like a little motivational talk. Live sport was every day, 5 days a week, getting 2 meals and interacting with national heroes and sporting heroes on a daily basis, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Let me read for you, my brother, some of the names that were involved in a daily basis in areas of the highest crime, because we took it from, guessing work, took it out of the Selwyn Ryan report, the hotspot areas. In the following areas: Bagatelle, Barataria, Basildon Street, Beetham, Belmont, Carapo, Caranach, Cocorite, Covin Road, Enterprise, Four Roads, Fullerton, Faizabad, John, La Brea, La Ocata, La Romaine, Mont d'Or, Malabar Train Line, Maloney, Marabella, Maraval, Mayaro, Mondiablo, Maruga, Movan, Pinal, Pinto, Pleasantville, Point Fortin, River Estate, Samaru Village, Sangre Grande, Santa Flora, Superior, St. Joseph, St. Paul Street, Tabakit, Valencia, and YTC. Now let me read some of the names who were interacting with 2,378 of the baddest, not kind of indisciplined, bad fellas that gone the wrong way, trying to get them back on track. And let me remind you that during the 2 years of live sport, 2012 to 2014, the murders were 375 and 400. Not no 614 and heading for 700 like now. But let me read some of the names. So my brother, what I say to you is, people like you, intelligent, brilliant, patriotic, amazing citizens, need to get more seriously involved in political discourse, research, read, because I read your column. And I'm here to tell you that when Kamla was there, what you are talking about in 2023 was there from 2010 to 2015, and had it remained and increased, we would not be in the morass that we are now. I think you're a logical thinker and you will agree. Ansel Elcock. These are people, this is from the live sport audit report. These are the people interacting with over 2,378 youths that lost their way. And not no one talk once a month, every single day. Ansel Elcock, Angus Eve, Anthony Boney, Anthony Roger, Derek King. Never mind, Derek King is a PNM and with Julian Morris. Nobody cares. Crime and no politics. We need to get to the youth and inspire them. Gerard Pereira, Julius Edwards, Kerry Batiste, Kim Quashie from boxing, world champion, Reynold Carrington, national captain, Kerwin Hardis Jemot, Kendall Velox, Jason Sandy, Bevon Julian, Alistair Ramdu, Ricardo Cornwall, Nigel Neil Henry. All these names you know, my brother, because you commentate football, cricket, boxing. You know all of these national heroes that were there on the ground to inspire and show a different direction to those who did not have that guidance. Dean Pacheco, Hayden Tinto, Cyrano Glenn, Annette Craig, Mohammed Issa, Marlon Thomas, Gorian Hiley, Sherlan David, Lyndon Andrews, Kester Cornwall, Nigel Pear, Ricardo Patti, national cricketer, great human being, was involved with inspiring and working to put those bad boys back on track. This is live sport. So don't believe the hype and the nonsense with Rowley and his politics and his stupidity. We would not be here in this position if they cared. Nigel Cooper, Ronald Primus, Tasha St. Louis, female national footballer, Nevik Dinoon, Azad Ali, Kevin Connell, Kevin Cornwall, Sean D'Souza, Miguel Patti, Robert Cyril, Casey Latapi, Nkosi James, Dale Saunders. All of these people were involved in live sport and are daily paid to take care, to teach, to guide, to put fitness, to inspire with social workers, guidance counselors, 2 meals per day, getting the guns out of their hands, inspiring them, my brother. So I know you are apolitical, but people like your good self, highly respected patriots, intelligent people, need to stop letting the PNM and their brainwashing machinery keep your intellect out of politics. They try to make you think that politics is just bambash, bad pikong, old talk. No! This is politics. This is meaningful politics. Your article is meaningful from the heart. And I show you that Kamala and you on the same page. Kamala 10 years ahead, but no big thing. Hines, youth programs, ways to fight crime. Fitzgerald, Ethelbert, Narcolepsy, Sleepy, PNM, Hines. Hear this one now. Youth programs, ways to fight crime. It will take all of society approach, including opportunities for youth, in order to tackle crime, says Fitzgerald, Ethelbert, Hines. It is programs like these that are designed to support and encourage young people, to create pathways for them. They don't have to steal and cheat to win. They can develop skills and they can do all of this alongside the very expensive formal education system that we have from primary to secondary and tertiary with good support, Hines said. He added, there is my honest view, no lack of opportunity. What is missing in Trinidad and Tobago today is the willingness on the part of individuals to submit themselves in the spirit of discipline and calm and respect and patience. Abject total nonsense. Because you and your government cut live sport and did not replace it with anything. You have some empower thing going on, superficial, have to talk once a month in our area and once. That's nonsense. Live sport was every day, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, right through to get impact, to change lives in a meaningful manner, not in no superficial whitewash way. You all cut gate. You cut UTT, you cut COSTAT, you cut TTHTI, you cut nursing school, you close down the nursing school, you cut laptops, you cut food cards, you cut Petrotrin, you cut point leases, you cut MIC, you cut NESC, and then you're talking about there are opportunities. Well, if there are opportunities under you, then under Kamala, it was heavenly. There was a basket, a fruit, a laden field have to be harvested of opportunities. Because the cuts that you and the PNM have done for the people have us in this morass of pain, torture, home invasion, and crime. Prime Minister Keith Rowley concerned that some anti-crime measures are failing. While he is in Barbados playing golf, Rowley said, some things are failing. We have to find out what is failing. So some things are failing, but he know what's failing. But he's the Prime Minister for 8 years. We have to find out what is failing and where the failure is taking place. Certainly, what is happening now cannot be accepted as the norm, and cannot be allowed to continue indefinitely. But it has been continuing under your watch. Crime increased under the PNM. September 2015, you got into government. The average for the 3 years before that was 400 murders. By 2019, with your minister Small Pin, it went up to 519 and then 539. And what did you do? You jump from the toilet into the sewer system. You move from Small Pin, which is just in the toilet bowl, and you jump into this sewage system full of nonsense. And we went up to 614. And we only in May, and we must be reached 240 already, and counting 2 and 3 murders per day. But yet, a 1-year extension for the Commissioner of Police. A 1-year extension. No performance, no nothing. But the Rowley, who got to this position by forcing the president and Bliss Prasad to break the law, to breach the constitution, to ensure that he could handpick a commissioner of police. And then they put our old lady. She served for a few months, and now she's beholden to Rowley to get a year extension. And next year she had to call Rowley. How I do, boy? I could get a next extension, please. I enjoy living in the big house, and I'm doing an excellent job. Never mind everybody dead in, and never mind home invasion. Never mind rape and murder. Never mind that the whole country is not safe. I look good in my tea party, Row. Could you extend me so I could get a little more money, please? Please, Row. That's what you all think is good governance in serious issues, in crime fighting and the safety of your children. And politics more important than that. This is what you all vote for? This is what you're going to vote for? But listen to the Newsday editorial now. And remember, the Newsday, highly responsible for this. Now, the Newsday recently fire one of he girl. So they're making more sense. Top cop, not an OJT intern. When earlier Hereward Christopher was approved unanimously by Parliament as this country's new Commissioner of Police, it was a hopeful moment. It was felt that the installation of a substantive office holder was a step in the right direction, which would provide a much-needed boost to police morale. Lo and behold, a mere 3 months later, it is now apparent. Lo and behold, a mere 3 months later, it is now apparent that we did not get a new police commissioner, but rather yet another acting appointee. That is the net effect of the provisions of the Police Service Act relating to officers who have reached retirement age, provisions which have been invoked by Cabinet this week as it announced the extension of Ms. Hereward Christopher's term by 1 year. The Newsday continued. Even before the first day of Ms. Hereward Christopher's tenure, there was warning of her approaching retirement age. Next Monday. In fact, the Prime Minister and Orapuch East MP Dr. Rudal Munilal sparred over the provisions of the Police Services Act and its impact on the tenure of this new post holder. But if the PNM evidently holds no fears over the current arrangement, that party and the entire national community ought to, regardless of political affiliation. Having Cabinet review Ms. Hereward Christopher's performance on an annual basis effectively goes against the spirit of the Constitution, which has established a Police Service Commission to do precisely that. There is a good reason why the performance appraisal of a sitting commissioner should be handled by an independent body and not the executive. The government should stay its hand and amend the law and let the PSC review the commissioner's tenure. That tenure too should be fixed, not contingent on age. The commissioner of police deserves better to be treated like an intern. So Newsday, you didn't know all this constitutionality and all this spirit of the Constitution when Keith Rowley went to President Paula May Weeks on August 12, 2021 and caused her to breach Section 123(4) of the Constitution and tell her to call back Bliss Prasad, the chairperson of the Police Service Commission, to thwart the merit list, that has us in this mess now? When Kamla Prasad Bisesa went to the parliament to call for a tribunal in the Electoral College to investigate those actions because the Constitution had been breached and the principles and spirit of the Constitution and the independence of the Police Service Commission and the actions and the duties that should not be influenced by an executive or politician. Where was all this intelligence? When it continued and we were without a substantive commissioner of police and Rowley continued to play games, where was all this? As Keith Rowley went to Parliament to put his PNM stooge and puppet president in President's house, where was all this understanding of the Constitution and the spirit of the Constitution and the importance of independent institutions? Where was all that? So, Newsday, if you don't mind, while I read it, yes, you all have us in this mess. The cop rates her performance as excellent. Erla Harewood Christopher says her performance is excellent. Erla, let me just ask you a question. So under your tenure, just for this year right here, if it reach, I even know where the number reached, 230 something, 240 murder. Home invasions, running wild. Bandit running around the place with AR-15 in the back pocket. Wildness, robberies, business people getting killed, people feeling unsafe. Rapes, carjackings, daylight robberies. All of these things running amok under your watch. And you say, Erla, you are doing an excellent job.
We were able to
so, Erla,
rate her performance thus far.
Thank you. Excellent.
Excellent. But let me ask you this now, Erla. If you had kind of curbed murders to 300 for the year, right? Because right now we're on about a 600, 650, 700. If you had cut it to 4, if you had ensured that home invasions did not increase and escalate, rapes and robberies, carjackings did not increase and escalate, what you would have described your performance as? Because excellent is kind of up. I don't know what you could get more than excellent. Maybe perfect. So you fail in every aspect of your work and you find that you are doing an excellent job. So if you really did better, what you would have described your performance as? It's amazing, you know. Anyway, moving right along. Sunday Express. Not so fast, Mr. AG. Let's hear what the Express has to say about that. The government is doing itself and the public a complete disservice by rushing to introduce far-reaching legislative changes without the benefit of thorough research, analysis, and consultation. Express, you now realize that? The government has brought legislation for the last 8 years to gut procurement legislation without facts or figures. They come to create the Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority without facts or figures. They come to bring budget after budget with CSO statistics that at best are time lagged and at worst are ridiculous and useless because of the way the data is gathered. But you now realize that the PNM comes to the parliament without facts, without figures, without data. Well, better late than never, end. The statistics, says the Express, thrown at the Senate by Attorney General Reginald Armour in introducing the bill on Friday, was selective and self-serving. This is for the judge alone trials, right? Precisely because of this, they do not justify the proposed legislative changes. The Express continued, as for the cost-saving argument, we find the explanation proffered by Minister in the Ministry of the Attorney General, Renuka Sagram Singh Suklal, to be an insult to the national intelligence. If the AG's office is concerned about cost saving, we suggest that it cut costs by reducing expenses on the hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars wasted in pointless legal challenges, overpriced legal representation, and delinquency in managing its own affairs before the courts. It can also give better legal advice to state entities that are routinely having to pay millions in damages for breaking the law. This argument about cost savings is so ridiculous. The argument by Renuka Sagram Singh Sukral, the Express says, is so ridiculous that the next thing we might be told is that we need to save money by cutting down on electoral budgets. On a matter so fundamental to democratic norms, no government should be allowed to play fast and loose with the jury system. Isn't that amazing? After all of that analysis, Express, you still think, and if you add on 10 of your last scathing editorials in every ministry, everything from Nelson Gate, Police Service Commission Gate, Education Gate, Failure of the Economy Gate, Petrotrin Gate, NGC Gate, Fake Oil Gate, all of these things, you don't think it's time they go, Express? You don't think that our democracy and our nation deserves better than this, Express, that you are calling ridiculous, dotish, and playing fast with foolishness in serious issues, when this one is attacking the DPP and independent institutions, attacking the judiciary, attacking judges, lying on affidavit, losing files and claiming that files lost, and then paying $1 million to a friend of the PNM to say that they give a report on a file that was never missing. Y'all don't find that that's time for them to go? Suspended Commissioner of Lands wants a job back. I see that Keith Scotland won a case. Very good, Keith Scotland. Well done, my brother. Yes, man. But Keithos, this is your boy Anil talking. See, you win another landmark case, and over the years, you've done very well in the cases that you put before the courts, Trinidad and Tobago, Caribbean, and the Privy Council. How come no silk, Keithos? How come you didn't know to put in your name? How come they didn't tell you, boy, apply? We handing out silk like dinner mint. Because Keith, with all due respect, I disagree with you politically. I think you're a political neophyte. I think you're wasting time and you help nobody. I think that you taking $10,000 to sit on a committee to do the job that you're elected to do was ridiculous. I think lots of things. But one thing I don't think is that you're a bad lawyer. I think you're a very intelligent lawyer and you have a great track record and you are deserving of silk. So answer your black brother. Because PNM like to talk race card. Everything for PNM is race. Yes, man. Black. PNM. We ban Stokely Carmichael and Comet. Well, Comet to race. Stokely Carmichael. We ban the black brother. But we love black people. Black Revolution, Black Power 1970 was against the PNM. But we is black, don't vote for them Indian, that's all they say. You say that your PNM is held to a higher standard. Why no silk for you, boss? You could tell me that. You ever heard the phrase, the term, black bencher? Check yourself before you wreck yourself. The Commission of Inquiry, Commissioner Jerome Lynch says, there's a report delay. And he says, I'm sorry. Commissioner Jerome Lynch, you take your time, brother. In Trinidad and Tobago, we happy to see a man who seems independent, who don't like nobody, and only wants to give a report on the truth. So we accept your apology. You take your time and do your report properly. We know that this is not a PNM delay. You see, when PNM delay report, we know this shimmy-dimmy, is skull, they cutting, they redacting. You, my brother, have the love and respect of the entire country. We don't know you, and we thought when you come in, you just want a small pin and them boys, and we didn't. But when you perform and you did your job straight, you have the respect of the country. So you take your time and give the report, whatever it is. Bless. Guardian Media Limited records a $6 million loss in the first quarter. It's good for your Guardian Media Limited on your morning brew, Balizé brew, and Guardian newspaper, the Guardian of Rowley's K-Pax. All you want to make joke, it's good, and more coming if you feel that is lost. it are more coming, because every day the people realize that the mass media is the most dangerous tool in this country to attack and bring our democracy into disrepute. So Guardian Media, put mobile juice. Yeah, we want morning brew with what you name? St. Joseph Cocktail PNM. Put our next PNM in it. Go and call Camille. Says Balisé juice with ball head. Do that, man, and see where all you're going. Is more loss in all your tail. Good. Look at the Newsday. And Newsday, you following them too. Your paper's gone down from a high in 2014 of 48,000 papers today per day. You down to 8,000 and you're still going. Remember I told you all about a year ago. What did Newsday have with this Amory Bronxo? He put on a little suit, looking kind of like, hey guys, and they put him picture of him in the Parliament twice. They put it page 5 and they put it on page 11. Well, look, papers, Saturday, May 13th, page 12. And this is Amory Brown. He meet, wow, he meet the ambassador. Congratulations, great work. Shake, he shook hand good. But check the Newsday, in the same newspaper on page 20. They so love Amory Brown, they print it twice. Why Newsday? Why guys? What y'all doing? Huh? Y'all sure y'all have an agenda? What it is? What it is? Now, water. Rowley constituency, Archie. Rowley constituency. Keith Christopher Rowley, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Y'all, we showed you last week, Macquarie, water gushing and leaking a whole year. Look at 4 roads. Look at what Rowley does for his people. Show them.
Yeah.
Besides all of that, they will be drinking on top of all of that. That running through children system, look.
Watch what's going on. Watch.
Look.
And what government to vote for by?
Yeah.
And what we vote by, watch.
That will the people consuming.
Watch.
What do you watch?
What's going on?
That was so long inside of it. That will the people consuming
Watch.
and drinking.
Oh God. Watch. And well, be careful talk. First it's drastic. 4 road cut but circular.
So Martin, Keith Rowley Prime Minister, call me but acting Prime Minister, and the nosebreaker, the dance who get in, sneak in Fatima because somebody knows somebody. Now on top of that, the only big increase that you see in Diego Martin is water truck, boy. You're seeing water truck now like never before. All by Super Farm down there in Diego Martin, and the pumping station was a pumping station leaking about 3 years now, and it's still leaking. It looked like it perennially raining. Did I not rain? I potable water. But it pack up with traffic with water truck because the whole of Diego Martin had no water. But they giving Rowley honorary doctorate because he gave us water. Yeah, man. And then they say, man, they gave us, he also got an honorary doctorate for putting modern sewage systems in place. Yeah. I don't make this stuff up, man. But watch this modern sewage system we got, man. All you have any more awards to give out, run it.
Here we are at the Omera River, located in Arima. Right? To my right here, that is the old Arima wastewater treatment facility. Right? The government constructed a new one a couple years ago. It was commissioned in 2020, I believe. That is the Malabar wastewater treatment facility. The problem we are facing in Arima right now is, if you take a look behind me and watch in the river, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the list goes on. Dead fishes in the river. There's 100% raw sewage in this river, caused by a ruptured pipeline along Mera Road. That's been like this for a period of over 5 months. Nothing has been done about it, right? That plant is so state of the art. The operators of the plant would know if a pipe is ruptured. I would know because I not only work there, I work there from construction, I've been the head operator from commissioning, I've trained the water staff officially and both unofficially, and they let us all go, and the other 9 people who were supposed to be working there for their political reasons. Anyway, after 3 years of commissioning the plant is now nothing. It's rubbish. The entire facility is not working as it should be. Let's look at this right here. Back to square one. You know where this water going? This water is going to the Caroni water treatment facility where most Trinidadians get their drinking water from. So you mean to tell me the water you drinking in your pipes is raw sewage, you know? This river leads to the Caroni River where, as I said, most of Trinidad get their drinking water from. So all you're drinking raw sewage. So if you take your time and watch your water back, look at condom stick up right there. A condom right there. Look at pad stick up right there. This is sewer.
Enough, Archie, enough. Are there any more water to give out? He gave you water, he gave you... PSA files injunction to halt revenue authority. PSA, labor movement. Let me see if all they start a fight now. Let us fight Kamla. Kamla give all your back pay. Kamla give you 14%. Kamla settle 143 negotiation with labor. Kamla respect labor. Kamla don't cost labor. Kamla does answer question in press conference. All you take a mannequin and drag it around. What are you afraid, Rowley? Are you afraid that bald head cheating golfer? Are you afraid he? Okay, PSA, let me see all you. Let me see. His number 2, small pin. Small pin going now. All you have to understand. The level of dishonesty and pathology in the PNM. Small pin condemn something, and before he could take a breath of oxygen, he do the same thing that he just condemned. Watch him in the parliament. Watch small. I know it's hard to watch, eh? If your blood don't crawl when you hear this voice of this small pin, this wannabe intellectual sounding like he is some kind of elitist bourgeois with no rhythm. I know it goes sicken you as a Trini to know that this man is a minister. I could tell, but all you have to take it, all you vote for that, run small pin.
I condemn the personalization and the attacks on individuals who are not in the House. It is wrong and it is not something that should be encouraged. I also say that with respect to legal fees, lest the population is concerned about our increase of $190 million to the Attorney General's office for the payment of legal fees. Just to touch very briefly on why these fees need to be paid. And the Honorable Member for Siparia made the job even easier because she highlighted, the Honorable Member for Siparia highlighted the name of an individual, Ravi Balgobin Maharaj, and said this individual, Mr. Maharaj, is continuously bringing litigation against his state. So for the population to understand, every time litigation is commenced against the state under the Constitution, if it is civil litigation, meaning non-criminal, the defender of the state is the Attorney General and the Office of the Attorney General. So you see, if you're in a pandemic as a government, attempting to save lives and preserve lives, and you face a barrage of litigation, all of which are associated by those on the other side, it is the responsibility of the government to defend the litigation. So to come here where you, on the other side, are driving up the cost of litigation to the state, and the state and the Attorney General must defend the litigation, is a little hypocritical.
You must defend? Why are you such a consummate liar? If you must defend, how come you didn't defend the fake oil arbitration judgment when the Deborah Peak Senior Counsel said appeal? How come you did not defend the Malcolm Jones, your former client, and when you get Nelson, the political legal prostitute, to put a paragraph to change his opinion from a detailed opinion of success against Malcolm Jones for £97 million? Why you didn't defend that? Why you didn't defend when you all didn't put in a defense for Ashton Ford and them PNM when they sued the state? What nonsense you talking about? And you have to defend? You have to defend when citizens want information on how you spending the taxpayers' money? By small pin, you're a dishonest clown. small pin. And that one thing, let me tell you something, you will go to your grave and your grave will have on it small pin, because the whole country knows a small pin, you is small pin reaching the newspapers. Look there, Stuart Young shouted that playing the ball about some Kamala, keep giving Kamala talk. Kamala done, I tell you, we want to know how to get US. Ask your stepdaughter. A UNC MP shouted several times. Outburst, what outburst is that, boy? Small pin, you're going down in the annals of history as Minister Small Pin. Run it, Archie. Oh God, run the video. House sitting in chaos, boy. House sitting in chaos, Small Pin.
Or a pooch is coming to take your wicket.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, Ruka Maloney must be reigning.
What outburst is that for Small Pin? What outburst for Small Pin? Small Pin, what is that outburst about?
Mr. Deputy Speaker.
Control of your
Small Pin, Senior Council, what is that?
what your members doing. You can't tell
What outburst is that, Small Pin?
Members, Leader of the House, again, members.
What is that outburst about, Small Pin?
Hey, Small Pin, do another dance, winner. We want to throw off all we equilibrium. Now, Archie, the Honorable Prime Minister, at a press conference, when he rushed to Barbados just so, came out to tell you, the population, boy, I had this thing planned. I had a vacation planned from a long time, because I work so hard, and I am the Prime Minister that always tell you the truth, and I have a ticket in my pocket that I booked since April for this planned vacation. And Rowley said that, Archie, let me double check, because you know the douglAR don't like to lie on this consummate, pathological, dishonest human being. Run it.
So, on the 14th of April, I took a decision sometime early at Easter time. I took a decision that I'll take this weekend off and go to Barbados with some friends to meet some friends. The ticket for that trip was purchased on the 14th of April. The decision was taken well before that, long before you were in the news. And as a result of what I've done, I have a ticket in my pocket. I leave here tomorrow morning for Barbados. I'll be in Barbados for the weekend. And I know if I didn't tell you that, all kinds of interpretations have been put out by presidents in Barbados this weekend. Rest assured that my presence in Barbados has nothing to do with this matter, right? It has all to do with maintaining my personal relationship with what I do best with Barbados in Barbados, and I intend to enjoy the weekend on some of the best golf courses in the world.
So, let me ask you all something. You all are logical human beings. If you have a planned vacation, you plan, and you work so hard, you don't get a chance to take vacation, and your wife will go with you on vacation, how come he they playing golf, and Sharon and David rather dancing and prancing? I just want to ask you all this, and some of you all saying, but Anil, what does this have to do with politics and leadership in the country? Well, it has a lot to do, because if your Prime Minister is a liar on little things, then he cannot be believed on serious critical matters. Furthermore, mental health is a very important thing, especially in someone who has all of this power to control your budget, control your lives, to keep you safe and secure. If this person is not well mentally, let's say he's going through a tabanka because special branch and control, and he is in charge of the country, then he could be making poor decisions based on his not being corpus mentis, because tabanka is a very real thing. And then furthermore, you have to deal with the laziness and the effects of a poor work ethic, because when you're depressed and you don't want to work And Trinidad and Tobago requires work. And all of you all know that this man has not been working. This man always outside. He went outside for 27 days without letting you know where. Then he went to play golf all over. And then he lied to you. And we have to know and wonder if he's suffering from dementia. Because he says one thing one time, then he says another thing right after. These are very critical issues because he is the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and he is taking decisions that impact your life. So if things are not all right, the country needs to know and he needs to take a rest and put somebody else because the decisions that he's making so poorly. Now, this could explain a little bit of why he is the worst Prime Minister in the history of the Caribbean. Bar none. So it's a very serious thing. But after his holiday, he jet set off to Howard University to get an honorary doctorate. Howard University is one of the greatest institutions in the world. Howard University has come from the struggle of black people in the USA against the Jim Crow, against the racist agenda of politics of Anglo-Saxon people. Howard University was an institution that came up in the struggle. Howard University is the institution of Lincoln Tiger Phillips winning 2 national championships in football, as they called it back then, in 1970, 71, 72. Soccer, where an all-black team made up of Caribbean nationals headed by Bain from Trinidad won the NCAA title and catapulted black people into a position of prominence in a racist USA society back in the 60s, 70s and onwards. Howard University has produced some of the greatest CEOs, even down here in Trinidad and Tobago. We have Camille Richards Chatur, who is a graduate of Howard, and many others, Shaka Hislop, Kona Hislop, the list goes on and on. And Howard University was brought up in the struggle with no resources, with discrimination. They took away one title from the soccer team over spurious reasons. Discrimination, lack of resources, lack of accreditation, pressure from the status quo. So Howard University is an institution that I have a lot of respect for. And understand this, if Howard University or Mr. Frederick would like to give Rowley, because he's the Prime Minister of Trinidad and he's from Trinidad, an honorary doctorate, so be it. So be it, that's your choice. But Mr. Frederick, don't come and lie to me. Don't lie to the population. Don't create a false narrative. Don't make statements that are not based on fact. Keith Rowley is not the first Tobagonian to be Prime Minister. That was A.N.R. Robinson, 1986 December, from Tobago. Go and check it. What are you doing making a speech at Howard University that is fraught with falsehoods? Let me just say, Archie, play the speech. You see, I don't mind if you give him an honorary. He's the Prime Minister. I want to give him something because he give you order of the Republic of Trinidad. No problem. But do not tell lies. And I'm going to show you, sir. And if you are man enough, you will correct the record on each and every element. Run it, Archie.
The Honorable Keith Christopher Rowley, renowned social and political leader, pioneering statesman and scholar. Esteemed scientist, your noble vision, stellar intellect, and dynamic servant leadership have propelled you throughout a lifetime of illustrious achievements as you serve the more than 1.5 million citizens of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago as Prime Minister, the first Tobagonian and 7th in the history of your country.
Okay, that's one. That's wrong. False. Nonsense. A.N.R. Robinson, first Tobagonian to be Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Okay, Mr. Bright Boy from University, play more. Play.
The Republic of Trinidad and Tobago has experienced welcome growth. Government policies implemented to promote diversification, investments, and tax incentives for small business have increased the rate of economic growth. Energy reforms are also at the heart of your goals. The National Gas Master Plan promotes renewable energy sources to lessen the country's dependence on fossil fuels and encourages private investment to explore new gas and oil resources. During your tenure, quality education has also been a strong priority with increased school funding as well as more opportunities for vocational training. Under the School Improvement Project, you renovated and upgraded facilities nationwide. Likewise, the number of community centers has expanded with a number of projects within the Digger Martin community you represent. And such centers are crucial to the lifeblood of the citizens, with more than 40 open throughout the country since your first term in office. Infrastructure and healthcare have been central to the well-being of your constituents, with improved roads, better access to transportation, upgraded water and sewage systems, and expanded medical care. Your exemplary handling of the COVID-19 pandemic has been heralded for saving lives and lessening the overall spread as much as possible thanks to your quick and incisive actions.
Even Rowley, the pathological liar, that was even too much for him to stomach. You see Rowley face? Mr. Frederick, sir, the energy sector has never been at a lower ebb than under Keith Christopher Rowley. Since 2017 and his negotiation with Smallpin in Houston with the upstreamers, Trinidad and Tobago has been on the losing end. Over 11 companies that were operating in Point Lisas have shut their doors. There's no more steel plant. We have made a loss at the NGC in 2019-2020 for the first time in our history. Point Lisas now operates at 28% capacity. The energy sector foreign direct investment has been negative over the last 5 years. Not $1 has come in of investment in the energy sector in Trinidad and Tobago. MOUs for renewable energy are just that, MOUs, and not 1 cent has been earned. The energy sector and NGC have made some of the worst decisions with Atlantic Train 4 and so on, wasting over $500 million. Trinidad and Tobago's energy sector is at its lowest ebb. There have been bid rounds that only 3 out of 17 blocks were bid upon, the worst in our history. No Petrotrin refinery and subsequent movement downwards in the economy from the lack of jobs and lack of production at Petrotrin. The fuel subsidy has been removed and increased inflation across the board. The energy sector is the worst in our history right now, sir. Furthermore, you said that he put money into building schools or refurbishing schools. Keith Christopher Rowley in 8 years has only built 3 schools. Over 40 schools that were between 70 and 95% complete under Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Rowley has left them, whether they're in Mova, down in Kucharantre, down in Oropwich East, across the board where Archie went, in St. Joseph, the Mount Hope School. It's all of them there have been left to be pillaged and plundered and not open. Keith Rowley cut education and gate from $726 million in 2014 under Kamla Prasad Bisesa for 59,000 students across Trinidad and Tobago, tertiary level and Tech Voc. Keith Rowley cut that to now $300 million and only 28,000 students benefiting annually, a decrease in 30,000 students per year as opposed to under Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Keith Rowley has starved UTT of funding, COSTAT of funding. He's closed down 8 MIC centers and 5 NESC centers that provided training under Kamla Prasad Bisesa for our young people. Keith Christopher Rowley closed down the TTHTI, the Trinidad and Tobago Hospitality Institute. He closed down the nursing school. He closed down everything, and you are stating that he made improvements even in school feeding. In 1981, Dr. Eric Williams created school feeding and provided for the children 51,000 meals per day. Kamla Prasad Bisesa and Tim Gopi Singh in 2010 to 2015 took that up to 76,000 meals per day, breakfast and lunch for our children. Keith Rowley came in September 2015 and by 2016 cut school feeding down to less than 51,000, less than Dr. Williams in 1981, and you are saying that he increased funding for schools? Our schools are a hotbed of crime, criminality, fights and stabbing, and you stand up there, sir, without doing research in a noble institution like Howard University to lie, to give a man, if you want to give him something, because he gave you something, fair enough. Quid pro quo, or as I now say, quid pro quo. You could do that. You talk about the health system. You talk about COVID-19. Why don't you speak to the 4,288 people whose family member died for no reason, and every variant known to man walked across the water at unmanned borders? Why don't you talk to the people and to the chief of staffs in a medical hospital who were pushed away and redeployed by a man who should be putting on plays at Queen's Hall, Davlin Thomas, as people died in tents, sucking for oxygen, empty oxygen, and COVID-19 was a total fiasco. 9 out of 10 people were dying in the ICU and the HDU. You stand there without knowledge talking about my country, a country that you left and you've gone. God bless you. I'm proud of you. I don't know how you get the order of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago just for being the president of a university, but that's between you and Rowley. So you do your quid pro quo. That's no problem. But do not lie to us that Rowley has done what? Given us water? Mr. Frederick, in 2014, 74% of the population was receiving a 24/7 water supply under Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Right now, Mr. Frederick, as you give that award and you talk nonsense on your pulpit in front of an aging, senile USA president, you now say that Rowley gave us water. Only 12% of the population now can get a luxury of a 24/7 water supply. Over 4 billion gallons of potable water per month is lost through leaks for the last 6 years. So we are the biggest waster of potable water on God's green earth. But you give a man an award and tell us about water? Don't tell us about that, sir. We live here. You live in a country that's going good. You live in a country that bus does work and move on time. We live in a country that people in the rain does get wet in the bus. So please, sir, if you want to give Rowley an award, you give him 10 award. Hug him up, kiss him. You want to love him up, take him. You want to play golf with him, do so. But don't tell lies. What else he said? What other thing he talk about? Sewage system. Well, look at our video. We play sewage system. Our sewage running straight into the potable water. So with all due respect. And then Biden. Now I'm a Democrat. I'm a Democrat. But when age hit you and you need to be on a rocking chair cooling it, you really need to. Biden didn't even know who's Rowley. But Biden sit down there hearing Frederick talk about Rowley, and Biden like he get excited, and then like he don't know Caribbean and Latin America, he don't know nothing. Bring in Biden. Let me hear Biden.
To join fellow honorees, Prime Minister Rowley, Prime Minister, I didn't know you were so talented.
His Highness.
I just thought you were a foreign policy, Latin American guy. We got to talk.
Most notably, you have continued to strengthen the partnership between Trinidad and Tobago and the United States.
The government, however, I'll get right to the point, is definitely not looking at the United States the way they should. And I have to say it, I have to be completely blunt about it, because they had, in fact, their Prime Minister, his name is Keith Rowley, made a statement to the paper that the United States was Trinidad's partner of the past, and that China is their partner of the future.
You have emphasized this important partnership as well as the deeply rooted ties between the two countries, with numerous native-born West Indians living and contributing to the health and wealth of the United States and vice versa.
America is a shithole country. Right? Sorry to say that. Right? And we will have to make sure that we don't allow Americans to come in to Trinidad. You know all of them Americans who run, all Trinidadians who run into America, and you just send back all the barrels and so forth. Make sure that you tell them stay out of Trinidad for the rest of the year. All their family and them.
Keith Christopher Rowley, that took Trinidad and Tobago away from the USA, attacked Trump in the parliament, criticized the ambassador. The ambassador of the USA had to correct Small Pin Young when he lied on him. They took us closer to Maduro, Iran, China, Russia, and Equatorial Guinea, and attacked the USA, and you all come in to lie there and talk about our close bond. Because Biden ain't know nothing about Rowley. Biden ain't know who Rowley is. He sit down there and hear the man, Frederick, talking all kind of thing. But Rowley give me water. Rowley invested in school. Rowley what? Mr. Frederick, if you are not a dishonest man, I don't know where you got that information from. I don't know if Stuart Smallpin Young emailed you that nonsense and you didn't vet it and you didn't check it. You should have just said, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago from Diego Martin, I from Diego Martin, he give me an award, I give you an award. End of story. Now if you're a man, I want you to counteract all the information that I've given you, Mr. Frederick. You counteract it and show me that Rowley has done better than Eric Williams, A.N.R. Robinson, Patrick Manning, Bastille Pandey, or Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Keith Rowley is the Franco-ment worst in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. And let me tell you something, I now understand. You see, golf is a sport that it engenders a kind of ethics and morality. Because in golf, you have to judge yourself. Tiger Woods, when he was addressing his ball at one of the tournaments about 6 years ago, he moved a little leaf and his ball just shook like this. He gave himself a stroke penalty. The people, the officials, they were saying, nah man, it didn't move. He said, hey, it moved. And that's the way golfers operate. But not this one. This one, they catch he in Tobago, kicking the ball out the bush. Rowley, I dare you to say that Anil, the douglAR, lie on you. You are the worst. Golf has not taught you anything. Not only do you suck at playing golf, but you don't even understand the tenets of the game that create character and great attitude in a human being. You are a miscreant all round. And to my brother, Mr. Frederick from Howard, you have embarrassed your university with all due respect, sir. A noble institution that has done such a great job over the years, with thousands and thousands of brilliant people given opportunities that would never have been presented. But you have erred, for what reason I don't know. But I ask you to correct the record from your lies that you put on not the Hansard, but you put on the speech at the podium of such a noble institution of academia. Well, boss, after I watched that, Archie, after I watched that man talk about Rowley, and Rowley, I even know who he talking about, because even the pathological Rowley know that that was too much lie. They overdo with the lie. Rowley fan, Rowley like he said, "Boy, hurry up and give me my thing," yes? You know who is the next man who should be given an honorary doctorate by Mr. Frederick and Howard University? The next man to be given an honorary doctorate should be Congressman George Santos. For all you who understand that, you will know, Children among migrants begging and vending on flyover. 3,000 plus migrant children beg, sell on streets. But Education Minister Dr. Nayan Gadsby-Dolly says her hands are tied and she cannot allow migrants into public schools without getting all care from the Prime Minister. But the Prime Minister just got an honorary doctorate for expanding education, which he has shrunk. And here we have migrant children who have been here and been renewed for 3-4 years. And this government under Rowley cannot even allow them to go to school. And this one says, her hands tied because Rowley here want them go to school. But now newspapers, you now realize the problem. Over a year and a half ago, Kamla was saying that. Run it, Archie.
You gave them license to stay in Trinidad and Tobago. So before I talk about Young and Venezuela, I want to talk about the plight of the migrant children who are here. It is about time we allow these children to enter our public school system to get an education. I am calling on government to let these children get an education, let them go to school. When our people go abroad, what happens? They get to go to school. It is not their fault. They are not criminals. In the US, in the UK and elsewhere, they are allowed to go to school. And we should do the same. We should allow these children fleeing Maduro to get an education. So I'm extending it to say any migrant child here.
That is a caring Prime Minister. But you all want to play games. And for you people who could celebrate mediocrity, celebrate things that you do not deserve, take a deep breath. Get back to basics. What's wrong with merit? And as you leave this lady here, Gadsby Dolly to address non-payment of salaries to substitute teachers. As the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association takes up the plight of substitute teachers who have not been paid for months, Minister of Education Dr. Nayan Gadsby Dolly says she is trying to iron out the issues with salary delays. There seems to be some delay in the receipt of some substitute teachers' payment documents that is currently being checked so that the process could be smoother. A teacher from South Trinidad who has been waiting her salary for the past 3 months said the situation was distressing, especially since she was struggling to take care of her ailing mother. I cannot buy her medication. I have spoken to several substitute teachers and the situation is the same. Another teacher who received only one payment tranche in January said there has been no salary for February, March or April. But Gadsby Dolly said that some of their paperwork wasn't inside. So that's some of them. Really? Well, if the paperwork wasn't inside for February, March, April, May, how they get paid in January? And Gadsby Dolly, answer that now. Because you see, when you rub up on something too much, it rubs off on you. So if you rub up on a pathological liar too much, you become one too. So you keep rubbing up, okay? Nursing students protest class can put back she, you know. You want to feel like she done with she? She is a total failure. Nursing students protest class cancellation. After learning that the basic nursing education program by the Ministry of Education had been cancelled, nursing students who were set to begin the program protested outside the School of Basic Nursing in Palms Club, San Fernando. After spending more than $10,000 on requisite school books, uniforms, and additional materials, only to be told 2 weeks before classes start that the program is cancelled, is unsatisfactory. She said around March 2022, the Ministry of Education circulated a notice stating that they were looking for prospective students to join the basic nursing education program. As students, we applied. We had interviews. We were shortlisted. Then we were notified and we got through to the program. We were so excited to start, and due to the volume of students that applied for the program, our group was split into two. So the first batch started last November, and we were supposed to start classes on May 22nd. The Express contacted Minister of Education Dr. Nayan Gadsby Dolly yesterday on the matter. She said there will be no 2023 cohort of basic general nursing at the Ministry of Education. Arrangements are being made to transfer the students who were previously selected to the nursing program at Costa. That's the kind of arrogance and heartlessness for the children of Trinidad and Tobago. Give them more award, all you give them. And let me tell you something, the Sunshine newspaper, Archie, I must say, well done. Because the Sunshine newspaper say that Gadsby Dolly in education is the female version of Fitzgerald Hines in national security. That encapsulates the incompetence to a perfect degree. SDMS to accept fewer infant pupils next year. The best schools in Trinidad and Tobago, SDMS, Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha schools, cannot take in, they're taking in less students because they don't have no teachers. Education going good? When the best can't take, what is happening to the worst? Prison officers take 4%. Yes, man, or they take it, prison officers, because PNM in charge. Right? When Kamala give all their 14% and when Kamala operating with respect for labor, all you just fight down because all you is balise. Well, take the balise. Rowley, as I've shown you all, in every aspect, is a total, complete failure. So what does Rowley have to do? Local government elections coming, general election coming. He can't say that he give you water. He can't say the energy sector booming. He can't say the economy good. He can't say the health sector good. He can't say he do good in education. He can't say he do good in sport. He can't say he do good in culture. He can't say he do good in trade and industry. He can't say he do good in tourism. He can't say he do good in road. Hey, that man say, hey Frederick, you say we are good road. I forget that part. Actually, how you gonna let me forget that? Mr. Wayne Frederick, you driving in Washington, D.C. or wherever, man. You driving nice. Boss man, our roads are the worst in our history. Ever. The worst. Sinkhole, pothole, bridge fall down, car mash up, engine block mash up, people busting tire and rim, a pothole galore. People playing golf in the road because it has so much holes. So you say, Rowley, give me road, so you give me our award. Just say, I give Rowley award, because Rowley give me. And we go quid crow. Okay, Frederick? So Rowley, he gone to race one time. Now I want you all to listen to this video when Rowley is discussing that Kamla Persad-Bissessar says, use the castle doctrine and stand your ground. When some of y'all trying to link it to USA policies, we in Trinidad and Tobago. What Kamla Persad-Bissessar is saying, protect your house, protect your family, have the right to protect your people, your wife, your children from marauding, gun-toting bandits. So whether if all you don't like stand your ground, because in the States, stand your ground, white people just take advantage of black and brown people. We're not talking about the States. We're talking about here. What Kamala says, law-abiding citizens, protect your home, protect your family, defend yourself, defend your house, defend your castle. You have the right so to do. That is what Kamala say. But hear this clown, hear this man who pushing race, because you have no other card to play. Play it.
So I don't want to hear any foolishness from the Pundit Nelsokoro or from the opposition leader, because she has laid the groundwork for a kind of problem in this country that I want to ask them to stay away from. You're the Commissioner of Police. The crime for picking a mango in somebody's yard cannot be being shot to death. And if you follow that law, like the Defense Secretary position and the Homeland Security position copied from America, right now in America, where they have passed that law in some states, they are trying their best to get that law off the books, because some people who hate other people are using that law to kill those people like they kill flies and cockroaches. You are wrong. The PNM will never support that. So don't want to come to the Parliament with no stand your gun legislation, because we know the dog whistle of that. We represent all the people of all nations in Trinidad and Tobago.
Now I wonder if you all listen to that carefully. The position that Rowley is trying to say is that Kamla, the Indian, and the UNC, the Indian government, want to give citizens the right to protect themselves in the house, to kill black people. That's what Rowley just said. But in introducing the topic, he said that the pundit say is African perpetrating crime on Indian. And he spelled Kamla name inside that, when Kamla never talk no race thing like that in crime at all. Kamla does talk law-abiding citizen versus criminal. But Rowley says the pundit and Kamla saying it's African attacking Indian. And Rowley says on one hand, that is abject total nonsense, and that is racism by the pundit and Kamla. But he going in court with the Kamla thing, because Kamla never say nothing, so Rowley's a frank comment, flipping liar. Okay? But then on the next hand, in the next breath, after the next sip of scotch, here Rowley, the stand your ground thing is for people who don't like people to kill people. What he's trying to play there is that Indian people, Kamla want to give Indian people gun to kill African. So Rowley is now saying what the pundits say, that is African committing all the crime against Indian. Is Rowley say that? And the abject nonsense of comparing the USA, which is Anglo-Saxon white people who abuse all other people, whether you're black, you're brown, you're yellow, you're Japanese, you're Latino, everybody was under pressure. Black people more than so than anybody else. But all colors, all races in the USA. That is not what we're talking about here. We are talking about protecting your family, whoever you may be. Once you are law-abiding, having the opportunity to protect your family from gun-toting, marauding, killing, murderous bandits. That when they come with guns, you could have a gun, not come out with a Puya versus an AR-15. And to take it to the nonsensical point, that that somebody come to thief mango and people go shoot you. What an asinine statement. The castle doctrine of protecting your family means that your people are coming in to you, at you, to your family, into your yard to attack you. A man climbing a flipping tree is not no threat to nobody. So don't let Rowley ridicule and play stupidness with serious issues like he did with the security dome. And you all laugh. But nobody laughing now, ain't? Archie, in fact, that was at the end. I wanted to pull that one, Archie. I'm not showing off that show, but since I mentioned it, remember when Rowley, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, before the election of August 2020, said, listen, crime is a very serious thing. I have put my crime program policy in a manifesto. It has been up for 12 months, and the basis of it is a security dome to ensure that we protect our Twin Islands state with radar, helicopter, air guard, coast guard, 360 degrees, police, roadblocks, army. That's what Kamala was talking about, to keep Trinidad and Tobago safe, not only for COVID, but from drugs, human trafficking, anything. And Rowley ridiculed that. Some of y'all laughed because y'all didn't understand. The media allowed it to go as funny rather than saying, Rowley, are you an idiot? Don't you understand the concept of a security dome? All you don't remember that? Run it out, you remind them.
Dome. Watch this one now. And of course, the pièce de résistance. Item number 7. Creating a dome around Trinidad and Tobago. They're going to build a dome. Ladies, you know when you bake a nice cake and you put it in your, whatever you store your cake at home, there's a round thing you just put over it? Or if you're serving food on the table, it comes in silverware. Or if you have a butter in a butter dish, there's a cover that goes, that's a dome. So Kamala and the UNC going to build a dome over us so that no illegals could come in and no virus could come in. They're building a dome. Well, brother, I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on social media. But I hear the roast they're behind with this. So you know what happened? After 24 hours of this foolishness, they produce another one. The dome has not been built. But let me tell you, don't think these people crazy, you know. All the time I hear them talking about they're going to create 50,000 jobs. So, yes, these are the jobs. Dome builders, dome operators, dome inspectors, dome janitors, dome developers, dome manager, dome painter, dome attendant, dome support officer, and general dome service.
Ladies and gentlemen, funny. Illegal guns coming in this country, left, right, and center. Every Tom, Dick, Harry. Fellas without work, hard gun, AR-15, shooting up the place, riddling innocent people, bystanders, drive-by killing, a home invasion. And y'all voted for that idiot who did not even understand the concept. And he then puts many more idiots, whether Small Payne or Fitzgerald or Talbot Hines in the Ministry of National Security, and you have to suffer. Bandit come in and saying, but oh hey, use a PNM, you go live. Everybody, man, woman, child, PNM, UNC, everybody getting it from criminal elements because of Rowley's incompetence and stupidity. And they were laughing, or they're laughing now. And here the next one, pushing the race card. Camille Robinson Regis say that Foster Cummins is being vilified because he's a black man. No, Camille. Just like you not being vilified because you had 143,000 in cash that you cannot explain, and you lie and say you take it out of bank and the bank say you didn't take it out a day. Not because you're black, because you got cash and we don't know where it come from. Nobody care about Foster being black. For how Foster Cummins as a government senator get money in your account from MTS. How Venture Credit Union, and you see they fire the CEO. Venture, you can't just fire your CEO and get out. So police come in Venture. How Foster get 1.4 million and 4.4 million in his personal account as a PNM senator under Integrity in Public Life Act. How Foster Cummins, who had a rating, a credit rating of 360, which is in the red like PNM, incompetent, terrible, how did he get approved for a loan that's 5 times above the maximum loan? How did he get that? And how did the lady Verlene Jack write on his credit report a high probability that contracts will be renewed because he is a PNM, he is a member of the government? These are things that the police will have to investigate, not because Foster black. Foster could be wherever he is. Foster have to answer for Foster, and you call him a race guy because he black? Look, madam, move now, man. And if since all you want to play race card, Rowley, no silk for the black benchers, no silk for Skeet Scotland, no silk for Camille, no silk for Fitzgerald Ethelbert Hines, no silk for Penelope Beckles. Since all you like to play race card, this Anil the douglAR, half African, half Indian. All you like to talk race, don't vote for Kamala, never mind she give you school. Don't vote for Kamala because crime was going down. Don't vote for Kamala, 55,000 jobs. Don't vote for Kamala if you're in labor and she giving you money and back pay. Don't vote for Kamala because she giving you increased gate. Don't vote for Kamala for opportunity in sport. Don't vote for Kamala for smooth road. Don't vote for Kamala for water. Don't vote for Kamala for fuel subsidy because she's an Indian. And vote PNM because them Indian don't like black people. That is what PNM say. Right? Okay. Well, let the black man, douglAR, ask you a question. They give out silk. Pop the picture. None of the list. Pop the picture. I want to see the picture. You would give you a picture with 2 circles on it. Put up the picture. Nice picture, you know. I hope all you have it. I have it here, but I actually go find it. If you want that, you could zoom in on my picture in the meantime. Look at this picture of all those who get silk, right? If I actually zoom, you could see it, or he could put it up. You don't have it? If you find it, put it up there. Yeah, man, put it up there, man. Let the people see the picture. All you like picture? All right. Well, you, Rowley and Camille and them said, vote for black people because that Indian lady only like Indian. Let's see. There were 18 people, 17 in this picture who got senior counsel. Let me count my African brother. Putting on my father Tobogonian black African hat. All you like to talk race? Let me see how much African boy. Well, look, it have 2 light-skinned African. A lady there, and look, the boy coming now. The rest is Indian. Indian. Well, and a kind of elite Chinese Vera, independent senator who say he didn't beg. So let me ask Kit Rowley, Fitzgerald, Albert Hines, Camille, and all those who just push race card and Calcutta ship. How you explain this? It don't have black people who need silk. It don't have Keith Scotland. It don't have Penelope Beckles. It don't have Fitzgerald Hines. It don't have other senior counsel, other lawyers who are black Africans. Since all you like to talk race, come back to me. You see why race talk is stupid talk. You see why race talk is emotional talk. You see why you don't need no race talk in no election. Join with the UNC, join with Kamala for each and everybody. Vote on policy, vote on job, vote on merit, vote on equality, vote on opportunity. Don't play that stupid game. Look upon the African hat and only 2 African out of 18. That is not right. And then when I put on my Indian hat and Parliamentary weeks of national awards and they only have 4 Indian out of 27. That is not right. But then Rowley say, because Smallpin was on the list, you know. They have a list from Sunday and Stuart Smallpin was supposed to get senior counsel. And Rowley must be tell he, nah boy, that looking too bad, boy. That making the list look too PNM. Not on the list that PNM will come and all that, right? But it go look too PNM for Smallpin. Hey Rowley, come in Rowley, man.
And I told my member, you're not taking silk, you're not taking khaki, you're not taking crocus bag, because that is not how it ought to be done. and I forbade my member from accepting that silk.
He forbade his member from taking silk. Okay, Rowley, you sound good, Rowley, but here the problem. Here the problem. Rowley, when your member sit down in the cabinet and recuse himself over 50 times, and he brother, the company that the brother is a CEO, move under you, the court move under the office of the Prime Minister, where you and he they in charge, and they move from zero public sector work to $4.2 billion. Why you didn't tell him, I forbade you to give that money to your brother? You didn't say that. And then when Dr. Terence Farrell and them resigned because you wasn't taking them on, and you put Richard Young in charge of some committee to report to you and Small Pin at the office of the Prime Minister about investments coming, well, not really reached, but you put he in charge. How come you didn't forbid your member from doing that? How come you didn't forbid Arawi from getting 46 million in rent when he recused himself and 38 million to outfit the building? How come you didn't forbid Franklin Candices from renting his own building for 7 million a year? How come? Rowley, you see, when you're pathological, dishonest, and you're running a thieving organization, you must hush your mouth, boy, because you just sell out yourself. Don't blame us, say Barbados. It was no abduction, right? Locked in a black hole. All of this Barbados, we're sorry. But I'll just read the editorial for you from the Express, Thursday, May 11th, 2023. Chalk and cheese. We are aware that very senior government officials in this country, and you all had better understand, that both the governments of Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados, while accepting that their police forces behaved unlawfully, neither of them, neither Mia Amor Motley or Keith Christopher Rowley and his government, have stated that they were involved in accessing a CARICOM plane to put police on to go and abduct a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago out of the safety and comfort of a hotel in Barbados. So who got the plane? Who authorized the plane? Who got the plane to put armed official on it and allow weapons to land on a foreign soil? Who allowed that? Those are the questions. But here we see the Express says chalk and cheese, because Barbados Attorney General Dale Marshall gets a written report and reads it into the Hansard in Barbados. And in Trinidad and Tobago, Fitzgerald Telbert Hines gets oral from Miss Erla Harewood Christopher. Let me just ask one question as we go, you know. As we go, Archie. Chief Justice Ivor Archie, I know you're on holiday, but we're in 2023, and information is at your fingertips. You walk with your phone, your smartphone. You walk with that wherever you are. You could go on the internet, you read papers, you have phone calls you could call, WhatsApp call. You don't have to run up a roaming bill of 59,000 like the great intelligent lady called Shamfa Kujo. Chief Justice Ivor Archie, you are the general of the judiciary. You are in charge, the leader of the judiciary. The judiciary is under constant attack over the last 12 days from the executive members with political overreach, breaching the separation of powers, and attack your soldiers, attacked by the Minister of National Security, and then backed up by the Attorney General in Parliament, attacking judges, apologizing to Barbados for the words of a judge in a judgment, attacking the judge's rulings, saying that the judge was wrong in Parliament on Hansard, a blatant, overt attack and a breach of the separation of powers of your troops. Where you, my brother? You're not fighting for your troops. You're not defending your troops. You're not defending the judiciary against an injudicious attack by politicians, bringing the entire judiciary into disrepute, affecting the confidence that the citizens have in the judicial process. You are not defending your army, your position. You are the general, you are the boss, and you are silent. I am a little confused. How come you jump out 6 weeks ago to defend Rowley to attack the DPP? Remember that? And you said you were forced to do so. And I said, but no, sir. Shouldn't do so. Stay in your crease. That's not you. You call in and deal with things quiet. And so remember that? I was not impressed. But you were ready to jump out to defend this one. This Rowley, this politician. So it's not looking good. I'm just asking you. I know you're on holiday, no? I know you're on holiday. But hit send. Statement. Defending. Stating propriety. What's right. What's wrong. What should never be done. We are seeing some of the worst attacks on the judiciary in the history of our republic. It is not on, sir. But I can't hear you. Are you laying face down on a pillow in a hotel somewhere that you can't hear, you can't see, and you don't defend? Our country is at stake, and you see the pain. You see the pain? Tim Gopi sing a sorry. I do the whole show and I didn't get so vexed. Because you know why? I come out the womb of a lawyer. Put in the womb by an ex-lawyer. The fellas who share the womb with me, them is 2 lawyers. My son just finished his last exam. Praise, oh Lord, please let him pass. He go be a lawyer. My sister is a lawyer. And I grew up having such a reverence for the judiciary and judges and so on and the legal profession. For me to see what it has become now due to political games and shenanigans, it is depressing. It is terrible, sir. Honorable Chief Justice, either stand up for your troops, defend your judges, or come out, sir, and go and have more time to do whatever it is you want to do wherever you are. Because, Archie, the crime is out of order, and it's because no independent officers, no leaders, nothing works in this country because we are in an oppressive, tyrannical dictatorship. Run the compilation. As Erla says, she's doing an excellent job because she's handpicked by this clown who just renewed her contract for another year to sip tea and dress up in blue gown. Run it.
Since you take over as Prime Minister, it's plenty pressure. We have to suffer, and you will do nothing better. Rowley really have to go. Oh, so Rowley really have to go. Oh, Rowley really have to go. Since you come in power, you is a big failure. Collapse the economy. What you have to show, we don't really know. What you have to show, we don't really know. Sorry, Trinidad and Tobago, but Rowley really have to go. Oh, so Rowley really have to go. Oh, so Rowley really have to go. The crime rate is out of hand, they're shooting up with blessed land. We need more protection, it's time to take some action. We living in fear, it's too much to bear. We living in fear, it's too much to bear. And the PNM don't really care, Rowley really have to go. Oh, so Rowley really have to go. Oh, so Rowley really have to go.
And as you see that, and you listen to Mr. Wayne Frederick telling untruths on a podium as he introduces Keith Rowley to give him an honorary doctorate, which if he want to give him, that's his prerogative, give him. But don't lie, because we live here, Mr. Frederick, and that was deeply disturbing. But look at something. All of you out there, you know the truth. I don't have to tell you. As the youths will say less. But I actually put up this picture here, because a picture tells 1,000 words. And look at that picture. Look at the pure joy and happiness. When is the last time you were able to laugh that hearty, meaningful, passionate, belly tuning, abdominal cramping laugh? I'm certain you don't recall. This is a kind of happiness that all citizens should feel, but how come them feeling it? Nothing working. This one, the worst Attorney General in history, the biggest liar to ever sit as Attorney General, costing taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars because of his incompetence and stupidity. But he's so happy. Look at that laugh. Look at it. I want it burn into your very being. And ask yourself, when you, today's Mother's Day, how many of y'all laugh like this? This hearty, passionate, full heart, 100% laugh. And it doesn't worry you that the entire country, as I have said, is in a total mess. But they have that ability to laugh so wholeheartedly. And why do you look at that picture? Let me tell you something. Local government election is coming very soon. Very soon. And when you look at this, and you take your look at your family and your children and the education and your car with your bus tire, and you going to the gas station and getting this much gas for this much money, and going to the grocery and having to pick and choose what you could buy because these fellas are incompetent. As you feel that pain, and people, you feel unsafe to sit down and lime in your own yard because home invasions and crime and gun, and you see these fellas laughing. When the local government election comes, you must wipe this smile off their face. In corporations that they feel they will win, this one tell me they don't even need to campaign. That's what y'all doing. Y'all take that, wipe the smiles off these two scumbucket face when they call the next election. Local government election coming. Get out there and vote them out, and send them a resounding message from Port of Spain straight up to Grandy, down to South, down to Pinal, across the entire country, and in the middle. Wipe the stupid smile off their face. Good night.